Hi guys, Jareth here from Humanized Recruitment Group. Just doing a video today around if you don't have the luxury to pull the trigger to hire at the moment, what to bear in mind, and I suppose boosting your employer profile and also giving that individual that's coming through the interview stage a good experience to help get them across to your team versus going to your competitors or other employers that are advertising and recruiting at the same time as you. Now, I think the critical things for me are to run a very streamlined process. Now, I usually find 2 to 3 interviews, especially in that infrastructure and cloud space, is pretty much average. Anything above that, I always find that you're running the risk of the candidate deciding to pull out because there's too many interviews. Secondly, I always find that the risk is you're probably going to lose them to other employers, your competitors even, because they're running a more efficient, streamlined process. Now, speaking about process, I always find that the transition between first, second, and third stage is quite key as well around the speed of response. If you're waiting a week, 2 weeks to actually interview these candidates between that time, you may run the risk of losing them based on, once again, them not being as engaged or finding something else faster. The other thing I want to talk about is around stakeholders coming in for the interview, what type you should have. I've heard of situations where the same employee is going in for, is going in for the same interview with the same people, first, second, third stage. They're not providing anything different from other point of views. I always think it's really good to get other people involved. That way they can hear different perspectives. They might pick up something that somebody else wasn't able to say. Most importantly, I think it's more of an appreciation thing for that person. They feel empowered if they get to meet other individuals, especially if it's a director or the owner of the business. Now, one of the most important people to be involved in that process is always having a high achiever within that team. I think if you introduce that high achiever, it really helps add a realistic journey for them as to how they entered the business, going through, I suppose, milestones, the challenges that they've actually faced and how they've overcome them. That person who's being interviewed is actually going to be able to think, okay, what does good versus great look like in this business for me? And they'll probably look up to that person when they come in as well. Now, obviously, with COVID-19 happening at the moment, we probably can't do any office tours. Obviously, that will change in due time, hopefully sooner rather than later. But I always feel that office tours are actually a great thing, especially Friday afternoon beers. I feel that you get to see the team in the natural environment. It's a really good way to build rapport. And it really gets them to think about, what does good look like here? Can I see myself working here on a daily basis? Now, I think towards the end stages, you should probably introduce your EVP, talk about your perks, your benefits of partnering with them. And I'll go through more of that in the next video. But if you do have any further questions, feel free to hit me up on the details on the next page. Cheers.